Okay, well, we are live recording. So welcome to the Empowered Living Show. Tonight we have a guest, Brittani Nelson, and she's going to be talking about time blocking. But before we start, let me just tell you a little bit about the show. Empowered Living was started because there's a lot of women entrepreneurs out there who struggle with feeling empowered and being able to kind of do everything. And we all have a lot of wisdom, and we all have a lot of different gifts that we bring to the world. And it's really nice to be able to hear from women who have gone through stuff that you're going through, so you feel like so you can feel validated. And so the guests come on the show and they talk about their story of how they became empowered, and they also share their expertise and how they help other women become empowered. So tonight we have Brittani Nelson, and let me tell you a little bit about Brittani. Behind her outgoing personality and big smile is a heart bursting with a desire to help entrepreneurs find resources, the network, the infrastructure, and the skills that they need to grow their business. And she's been gifted with a relentless drive to thrive focus that has propelled her through many obstacles and challenges. And she always works really hard in her business, and it shows in many of her successes that she's had. But still, what's most important to her are the people in her life. And today, Brittani is going to be talking about time blocking to keep balance with family and business. Brittani, welcome.
Thank you. That was a great introduction.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to have you. And I think this topic really speaks to a lot of people, women and men. So I'm really glad you're talking about it. So tell me a little bit about your life as a single mom, trying to run a business and spend time with your kids, and how do you juggle all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my schedule is planned out every single week. And what I learned a couple of years ago is, as business women, as entrepreneurs, we go through our calendar and we would plan out our appointments and our networking events, our time to meet for coffee, meet with our clients. And then at the end of our week, or the end of our scheduling time, we would then fill in family time or date nights or time with our spouses. So I do mine very different. So when I start my calendar, I plan all of my personal events, my kids' sporting events, and school events first in my calendar. And then I really customize my schedule to my clients based on the time that's left over.
That's awesome.
So for the last 12 months, I've only worked my business from about 8:30 in the morning when the kids get on the bus till about 3:30 in the afternoon. And during that time, when they're gone, I'm very consistent, and I work really hard during those hours so that when they come home, I get to enjoy the afternoons and evenings with them, and the weekends with friends and sports, and have a life outside of always feeling like I'm working. But I really stay consistent during that time and get a lot of work done and do what I need to do so that I'm not always feeling like I left a lot of business on the table to spend time with my kids, but I'm not always with my kids and not working my business. So it's taken a year to really do it consistently and to really work the system out. But I'll tell you now, it just adds so much peace of mind and balance, and it's so wonderful that I get to spend that time with them, and I get to have my successful business, and things are running really smooth.
And that makes so much sense, because that's really what we have our own businesses for, right? It's so that we get to do the things that we want to do and spend time with family and all of that. And you say that this has really helped you boost your income. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So during that time, not only do I time block the times that I'm working, I time block my activities. So I'll time block an hour for office work, my 3 hours out in the community doing coffee appointments. If I have a networking event or an activity, I block all of that out, and then I track it. So at the end of the week, if I look back and say, wow, I was really busy, or I hear a lot of women say, wow, I was really busy. And then I ask them, well, what did you do for the week? They're like, I don't know, but I was really busy. And I thought about a lot of things, and I felt like I did a lot of things. So in my time blocking and in my calendar, I'm tracking my activity. So when I get to the end of my week, if I'm like, okay, I didn't make the income level that I wanted to this week, or I was 2 clients short, The next week, when I go into time blocking, after I've scheduled all my family time, I will make sure and schedule more time blocks for the activity that produce the most income. So if I know last week making phone calls produced less income than networking, the following week I adjust my schedule to go out and network more and do less phone calls. So I've been able to track my time, utilize my time, know what I'm doing, and then adjust week from week to make sure that my income is growing with my activity.
Smart girl.
It took practice. It was not easy. There's times when people call and say, don't you want to go to the beach today or the river, or don't you want to come have lunch? And I've done, I'm flexible, and there's times that I take advantage of that because I am an entrepreneur, and I get to do that, but I really have to be loyal and consistent to that schedule to have the results. So it did take habits, and it did take building that in slowly and staying consistent with it. But now that the results are there, it's the easiest way to keep my life very balanced.
Yeah. And your kids are happy,
yes,
which makes you happy.
Right. And if I do have to jump on a call, which is nice. So sometimes if there's like an evening call or a client or nobody can meet except for the only time they can meet is Saturday morning. The great thing is I can tell my kids, mom's going to make an exception to our schedule this week, and she's going to be working on Saturday for 2 hours. The client might be here. I have clients that come to my house or on the phone. So if you could do this and this and this activity, they know, they love it, that they can go do something fun for an hour or two. And as soon as they're done and I'm done, they know that it's going to be mom time with them. So it's not like they're like, when are we going to meet, or when are we going to play, or what are we going to do? Because they know that for the most part, mom is on the phone or on the computer when they're home from school.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. Just really makes it easy to and predictable so that you don't have to stress out because you already know.
Yes. And for little kids, my boys are 6 and 8. For kids, it just gives them that structure and that security that they know every afternoon mom is going to be off of work.
Yeah.
Every Friday, mom's not going to be, working her business. Because when I first got started a couple of years ago, I felt like I was always working, and I was on calls at night, and I was at calls during the day, and it was chaotic for them because they never knew when I was going to be on the phone or when I was going to be on the computer. So it's really helped our whole family and our whole household just balance out.
That's great. Gosh. So tell me, like I'm really interested in how you got started, time blocking, how you figured out how to do that, and how to block only the tasks that that you're tracking that were income making, and how to work those different tasks.
Yeah, definitely. And I can send you a worksheet later on this week that you can see. So I'm a color coder. I love colors. And so in my calendar, that's where it originally started. So I would have green money slots for my client meeting, and I would have blue slots for my office time or tasks that weren't money producing. I would have pink times for my networking events, and then I'd have red or orange with my kids. So when I looked at my schedule for a whole week, I could see what activities I was doing. What I learned was if I didn't track the activities, then at the end of the week, I was one of those women that was like, wow, I worked so hard this week and I didn't make enough money in my business, or I worked so hard and I wish I could have made my goal, or I didn't make my goal. And so when I started to go back and look at that, I couldn't quite figure out everything I was doing in my calendar and in my trackers. And I have an income tracker that I use now with it to make it a little bit clearer, but I didn't realize what was working and what wasn't working. So as the time blocking was working for me, and now I'm tracking the income activities, it just started going side by side. And that's how I really launched into the social media world and did really well on social media, is because everything I did on social media, I was tracking the results. And whatever was working is the time and my focus and where all my energy went. So it's worked in all aspects of my life, but that's basically how I got started, was getting to the end of the week and not knowing why I had 5 new clients. Where did they come from? Did they come from social media? Did they come from phone calls? Did they come from referrals? And so when I was tracking in my calendar, the time blocking and the activities, it was really easy to summarize my week and then to recap for the next week.
That's great. So give us a little example of like the social media and how you were just talking about how you knew that your money was coming from, so how you track those people from social media. Give us a little example.
Yeah. So in my calendar, when it's my social media time, so like when you and I met on social media and we were talking, I tracked tracked the day that we met, and then I knew I was going to follow up with you, let's say 3 days later. So I would actually go to my calendar, and in my social media box, which is yellow, in my social media time slot for that day, I would write the names of the women or the men that I was following up with that day. So sometimes in my time block, it would be activities. So I'm doing this, this, and this in my office today, and I would write those down. But I'm following up with this person, and this person. I would put those in my social media box and in that time slot. So when it came time to going on to social media or in my office or to pick up my phone, I knew exactly who I was following up with because I was pre-scheduled those out in those time blocks. And if I had nothing scheduled in those time blocks, then I was going on to social media still during that time, doing a marketing campaign or posting a post, posting a graphic or a picture, and tracking what results I was getting from that.
I love that. I have to show you something funny. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it.
Is your calendar color coded?
No. This is my calendar.
Mine.
It's like,
I like the calendars that have like 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and they have all the times.
I do too. Yeah. And I just, you know what, I have one of those. But no, I love what you're saying. I'm definitely could use a little more organization with tracking specifically. So tell me how.
Can I ask a question of your guests? How do I do that? How do you raise your hand in this thing?
You're in the box. So come on. So go ahead and ask.
Okay. Do you like to be called Brittani?
Yes.
Okay, Brittani. To what extent do you? I love the color coding thing. That's really cool. I do it too. That's a good deal. To what extent do you use a handwritten calendar versus like technology? You turn on your computer and it, bada bing, you got this, and reminders. How much of that do you use versus how much of handwritten notes? And how do you incorporate that whole thing?
Oh, good question. So I'm about 50-50 and I go back and forth. But the nice thing about our phones is that they have color coding also on our calendar. So that's really great. So if you still like the color coding or if you want to look at your day and see what everything looks like, I tend to use my phone for really important things and really important people that I have to get back to. If I have to call this person at 4 o'clock on Thursday, I'm going to put them in my phone with a reminder, because then my phone's going to ding and remind me. But when it comes to like the income activities and the tracking, I use the paper calendars and the paper trackers more for that.
Great. Yeah.
But I definitely use a combination of both because I love still having paper calendars.
Yeah, I understand, and a lot of people do. I'm just curious, have you considered, maybe some kind of automation where you could have your calendar tell you this productive time led to this and have it all color coded and spit out a thing?
I don't know, but if somebody invented that, I would definitely probably be a customer. I don't know if that exists, but that would be great.
That'll be our son. My son is a computer science, so I'll get him right on that. That'd be great.
That would be a great product.
Like that, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but would something like that be helpful to you in your day-to-day business as you sat down in your office or as you turned down your phone? Would that save you time? Would that increase your productivity, or would it be more of a hassle? I'm kind of curious.
I think at the end of the week, it would be a really good way to recap really quickly and to see the report that would be tied to that and the income or the new clients that were generated from that, because it is manual. Like I manually go through at the end of my week. So I think it would be very useful for entrepreneurs for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
There you go, girls, ladies.
There's your $1 million idea.
There's your $1 million idea.
Someone better create that fast.
Right? Here we are talking about
an infomercial in a couple months if we don't create it ourselves.
So what's the best way to start, just to start time blocking if you haven't done that, so you can integrate that into your business?
So I'd say baby steps for sure. And don't start with a whole week. Start with one day. So maybe next week you're like, okay, I'm really going to time block Monday and I'm going to follow my time blocking and my activities. And I'm not going to veer away from it. And then the next week you add 2 days. And then the next week, 3 weeks. Some people try to change all of their habits, like when they're doing weight loss or time blocking or anything in our life. And then we just give up because it feels hard. Yeah. And it does take some discipline. Like when I'm on my social media time and my friends are pinging me on social media to tell me about events or things that are personally related, I've had to be really disciplined to not like veer off and go check those things out because I know I only have a certain amount of time to be on social media for my business. So it does take some discipline and it has taken time to go in there and practice. But I did not just start overnight. So I would say start one day at a time, one section of your business at a time. So maybe just time block your new client calls. And, it's 3 hours every Monday or 3 hours every Tuesday. And then for that 3 hours, you just stay really disciplined to do that activity.
That's great. That's a really good way of starting it. Of anything, like you said, any new habit, especially something where you're tracking and you want it to become a consistent habit because I guess like any habit, it benefits you in the end if you're consistent with it. But this way you can really see what your business is doing. Absolutely.
And when you see the results, what I find is when you see the
I'll just kick them off.
The results, then it's easier to keep going, and then you want to keep going and you want to keep doing that activity. So until you've seen results from it, sometimes it's hard to keep that habit or that discipline going. Yeah. But what I found is once I saw the results coming in, I was like, okay, I need to continue to do this. This is really helpful in my business and I can see the income coming from it.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. And so you kind of talked about how you prioritize your business tasks, but maybe you can go a little bit more in depth into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my day, when I start, let's say, I'm in my office time, for example, or my client time, my priority is my paying clients.
Yeah.
So if I have a client that I'm supposed to follow up with today because someone's got down.
We have feedback.
I'm just gonna
mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it sounds like I'm echoing in there. So if sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay, so if I'm prioritizing my task, I'm going to go with my paying clients first. So if I know that I have a coaching client that needs me to get back to one of their emails or needs me to respond to something that they shared with me, when I get into that block of time, they're the first clients that I start working with. Yeah. Then I work with my potential clients. So they're in my pipeline. I met them at an event yesterday and I need to email them and contact them for an appointment. And then my third priority would be, okay, what am I doing today in this block of time, if I had time left, to engage and find new clients? So am I going onto social media? Am I doing a new email campaign? Am I, building part of my webpage? What am I doing to build new customers? So I go with paying customers, potential customers, and then what activity I'm doing to always be creating the new customers.
That's great. So paying, potential, and then creating new.
Yes. But I think sometimes what happens, what I've noticed with a lot of women that I work with, is that when they get really good in their business and they have some great business income coming in and they have a flow of customers, they forget to keep working their pipeline. And some of them start working their pipeline, but they forget that third component where they're putting their name out there and they're marketing and continuing to get new clients. So if one of their potential clients falls off or one of their gals in their pipeline doesn't come through and we've stopped all new client activity, then nothing, comes from that at the end. So I like to do a little bit of all three. Even at my busiest, I still try to market and get out there and have the potential to have new clients.
That's great. Yeah. And this is what your business, tell me a little bit about your business.
Sure. So my business is called The Business Matchmaker and my website will be all up and running tomorrow. GoDaddy has some issues getting it forwarded. So gotta love technology sometimes, but it will be at BrittaniNelson.com.
Okay.
It will be really easy to find. And basically, I'm a business strategist, so I help women come up with these systems, these tools, and these strategies to make the most out of their time and to maximize their income. And it's very custom to what they are looking for. So I have clients that come to me and they're starting at ground zero and they need a business plan and goals and a why and mission. And some clients come to me, most of my clients come to me when they've been in for about 2 or 3 years and they're either looking to expand or they've gained so much business that they've been able to just utilize everything and do it by themselves, but they need some systems and some tools and some trackers in place because it feels like all they're doing is working all the time. So I help them do that through one-on-one coaching, over the phone, through Skype, in person, whatever they prefer, depending on location. And we walk them through a package that's comfortable for them and customized to them. And then we add a lot of personal development through that. So if they're having a block or a belief or a fear that comes up, because of all my personal development background, I help them walk through exercises to get through that so that we can get on to the next activity.
That's great. And so what are some of the systematizing strategies that you have?
So I have a goal setting one. I have a time management one. I have an income producing tracker. So it actually tracks all your income producing activities and then does an adjustment from there. I have one around values, missions, and whys. I have one about follow-up. I have one for customer service and thank you and that customer retention. So I have quite a few of them.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. So your website's going to be up Monday.
It should hopefully be up tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, great. And
Hopefully.
I'll put that on the link on the Facebook page, on the group page. Let me type that Facebook group into the.
On the link.
Yeah, can you look that up, Maggie? Can you
I
look
sure
that
will.
on the Facebook?
Do I have feedback?
No feedback.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
good.
I
You're-
just have one question before I do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was raising my hand, but my thing fell off. I'm sorry you had to look at my feet.
Okay, raise your hand, and when you finish, then I'll come back.
I'm gonna go. I'm just curious until we see your website, Brittany. Are there some clients of yours we can go to their websites who have used your
Services.
process or what you call it, your product, and we
My trackers.
can see them?
No, however, I do have some testimonials that I'm starting to gather and collect, and so I will be putting those up there, and then it will have ways for you to reach out and connect to them. I just have to go through getting their permission and making sure that they want people to reach out to them. But in the meantime, they're writing, I have some gals that are writing testimonials so they can tell people what they've done after a quarter of, months of working with me.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I also wanted to show you, if you don't mind, I don't know if you see it, but
Yeah,
my new
thank you.
business card. You guys see that on there? Kind of.
Yeah. I
So it
like
has
that.
my side, and then this is the other side.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so I got new business cards, a new website, logo, branding. So it's all going to be out there on the World Wide Web. I just switched all my social media yesterday, so it's very exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maggie, did you have a question?
Let's see. Where are you? Well, my question was, what are your income producing activities? Because I know some people, they just do certain things, but it's not necessarily income producing. So what are some of them that you do, especially when it comes to social media? When it comes, Are you reaching out with questions? Are you reaching out with how you can help them or something like that? Can you hear me? Or
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
Everyone's going to have different income producing activities based on their business, but a lot of us have core or similar. So I would say some of the core income activities that we all have are phone calls, right? So that's on my tracker. Emails and follow-up from networking events. Social media is definitely on my income producing activity. It's not going to be on everybody's. But how I work social media, And I have a whole series on this on Periscope. I don't know if it's still live, but I can send you some more information too. So I have a whole formula that I go through. And the basics of it is basically I start with a relationship. So if I friend someone on Facebook or they friend me, I start with private messages and I say, oh, I noticed you have kids. I see that you like to be out in your garden and it looks like you guys were on vacation. And I really started from social media from the first day I ever got on there to keep building those relationships, because that's really important to me in my business. And I feel like lately in the world, we've kind of lost that in social media, and a lot of people are finally going back to that. So I'm excited to see that trend coming back. So I start with the relationship, and then I start to engage in either their Facebook page, their business page, some way that I would want them to engage back with me. Right. Because people definitely follow what you do on social media, right? Yes. So if I like their business page and then I make comments on some of the business pages or posts that they made, I notice that they come over to my business page, like my business page, and engage with me. After that, either by private message or if they're local, I get them off of social media and we do a coffee appointment, or I invite them to the next event that I'm going to be at. So whether it's a networking event or an event that I'm speaking at locally, so they can see me off of social media and kind of get a different feel for who I am. But of course, if they are in California and I'm up here in Washington, I'm private message them to start asking them, tell me what kind of referrals and clients you're looking for. What do you need? And really, I start with what can I give to them? How can I add value to them? If they align with my business, I talk to them about power partnership. And what does that look like to me? But there's anybody in the world I can give referrals to as long as I know a little bit more about what they're specifically looking for. So we have really good conversations about power partnerships. And that's where the name Business Matchmaker came from, because a lot of people find me online now and they found me in the local community because they're like, Brittani knows everybody. And if I say, Brittani, I need this, this, and this, I can find that person. And I know their reputation and I have a relationship with them. So they know I'm going to send them really good contacts and connections. So that's where the Business Matchmaker really came into play. And then after that, if they don't ask you what type of referral you need or what you're looking for, I am not afraid to say, well, let me tell you a little bit more about my business or what type of referrals and clients I'm looking for. I will tell you 90% of the time, by the time I've done this whole process with them and this conversation relationship, they always ask me, well, what can I do for you? Or what are you looking for? Or now that you know about my business, what do you need in your business? So it just starts this great win-win back and forth conversation and relationship. And so it's been amazing. I have people, I'm up to 1,600 people on Facebook and a couple hundred on all my other platforms. I have like 5,000 people altogether. But the amazing thing is they're watching your life. So even if I haven't interacted with them, as soon as I launched that I was the managing director of eWomen, I had hundreds of phone calls, text messages, and private messages saying, I've been watching you for 5 years. This is so exciting. This is your dream. This is everything you've ever wanted. So they're watching, right? And so then we start talking about where I'm at, what I'm doing in business. So I love to add everybody to social media, whether they're clients or power partners or in the community, because you never know when they're going to see something that you post on social media that they're going to need. Yeah. So those are definitely, social media is huge for income. If you sell like a product or service, it would be making sure your website is up to date, could be an income producing activity, or making sure you have your inventory ready, making sure you have your calendar full of new client appointments for next week and your coffee appointments. So those are the major ones that I follow, but everyone has a few, and sometimes we have to tweak them. Each of my clients a little bit, just because they have other activities that they do. There are people that their number one income producing activity is getting on the phone. That is like my last income producing activity. It's on my list, but it's at the bottom. So it really depends on what their business is and where they're the most comfortable and where they have found that they get the most business.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great question, Maggie. Thank you for asking that.
Do you have a number of people on a daily basis that you contact? I know you had several ways that you contact.
So 5. So my goal every day is to private message 5 people on social media on Facebook. And I contact 5 new people. So they may have been my friend for a long time, or may have been connected with me, but the 5 I'm reaching out to, I have not seen at an event or seen on social media in a while, and it's a very personal message. So I haven't seen you in a while. I'm thinking about you. How's life? What's new? It's not, have you seen my business page? Have you been to this webinar? Have you been to this event? So every day I reach out to 5 people that I haven't seen in a while or engaged with.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and now I'm at the point where my social media and the reputation and the curiosity that I've been creating, I'm getting probably 5 to 10 friend requests a day, and I'm getting new followers, and I'm getting a lot of followers without having to go find them. So I'm really liking the ones that I have now and just keeping in touch with them like I would as a friendship.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
5 seems to be a good number because you can do that in about 15 minutes. And then you can engage back and forth with them throughout the day.
And how do you keep track of them?
So I went to my friends list. That's a good question. I have a lot of people asking that. I go to my friends list and it's alphabetized. So I just started at the top and I just write down the person that was the last person I reached out to. And then when I get back to my friends list, I'm like, oh, this was the last person I reached. At one point I had printed out my entire friends list and I was just highlighting their name as I reached out to them. So I did that over the fall and over the winter when I wasn't going out much.
Yeah, that's great. Now, these have been really great tips. And I think, because
I love sharing them.
Yeah, because it's true. It's always look at look at your income producing activities. And so much of the time, I think we get involved in that creative flow that you can get stuck in forever, right?
Yeah.
That is not an income producing activity at that moment. I mean, yes, in the future it will be, but it's not at that moment. So what can you do right now to make money, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's really, I'm glad you brought that up. So
I meet with a lot of women that carry a lot of hats. So they're a mom or they're a wife. And then a lot of them are entrepreneurs that are really creative. So the business side and the system sides didn't come as natural. And so for me, I've been able to come up with really big ideas, but also implement them. So I've had both sides, but I find that for a lot of women, it does take practice to make the income and to, track the results and to do some of these activities that aren't as fun as, making the new and latest flyer or a website or something creative and fun.
It's only fun when you see the results, though, right? Because if you don't track it, if you're not looking at what you're doing, then you don't have any clue of what is bringing you money and what is wasting your time, and you just don't know if you don't track it. So, this is really. When,
in my past career, I was a corporate manager for years. That's what I did most of my life. And so I did the same thing with my team. They would come to their weekly coaching sessions and they would be like, oh, I was so busy and I made lots of phone calls and I reached out to lots of clients and I emailed everybody. And then when we started tracking what they were really doing, it's like, wow, I only made 3 phone calls last week and I only did 6 emails. And so we could see where they could, increase their production. But until we could track it, they looked busy to me. They felt busy. They had conversations with me about being busy. But the results weren't there. So it really started in my corporate background, and it just really is important for business owners.
Yeah, no, it's that streamlining, that efficiency. It's becoming efficient instead of just all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great.
And it makes life a lot more simpler and more balanced, for sure.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I love the term time blocking. Is that something that you created, or is that a term?
No, I've heard about it. People call it all different things. Some people call it time management, but time blocking, someone said a long time ago, and I just liked it because in our calendars we have those blocks. So
yeah, I like it too. No, I think that's great.
That's not my trademark name. It's not copywritten, so you can use it all you want.
Awesome. Time blocking. No, this has been really, really very, very useful information. And I think, I know you have a free gift for people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So my website is going to be up tomorrow, and I know that Lisa's going to post it in the group page. So on there is going to be my email address, and if you reach out to me in the next week, I'm going to offer a 30-minute mini session So either on social media or on business strategy, whatever you feel is most important for your business. And in 30 minutes, we'll come up with a little mini strategy or mini social media marketing session for you. And then at that point, we can talk about if there's something else you need more in your business. But there's a lot of value there, and we uncovered a lot of things in 30 minutes. And that'll be on the webpage and on the link.
That's great, Brittani. Gosh, thank you. That's really going to be valuable for a lot of people, because I mean, just getting someone started in that in the right direction, I think is going to be useful. And then you mentioned you have some Periscope information. Do you want to send that over to me too, and I can post that in the Facebook group?
Yeah, how I linked all of them together.
Or just what you said, you had something that was some free information that you had given out.
Yeah, I did an 8-day series. So I have it in my video, and I'll see if I can share those videos with you guys. If not, I'll post them over to YouTube and then send you the links.
Yeah, that would be great.
To do that, but yeah, within the next week, I'll work on that.
Yeah, no problem. I think that would be really helpful for a lot of people, and always good to have new followers too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. Well, I am traveling right now for business, so I will put the information up when I get back, probably tomorrow evening. I'll have that posted onto the Facebook page with your information as soon as your website's up, and as soon as the replays.
It's up. It'll just be forwarded to the right website tomorrow. So
okay, great,
for sure.
Perfect. Okay. That sounds great. Any other questions, Angie?
No more questions. I thank you for being here, Brittani.
Thank
Great
you.
information. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and congratulations on your super duper.
Yes.
That's amazing. I would love to continue to hear how that's going for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep you in touch, and then you guys will see all my updates on social media.
For sure. That sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
So
the
recording?
It's still recording.
Okay. Do you want me to pause it?
Yes, because I can't pause it over here.